Welcome to Theme Park Wizard on this Sunday night, late night. You know what that means? Time to get juicy. And juicy we will with Dr. Dre and OG55. We're on the same channel. Can you believe it? How are you, Dr. Dre?
I am doing very, very well. I didn't quite know I'd be on, but that's okay though, because hey, you know what? When Wizard calls, well, hey man, I gotta answer the call. My own. At least to the extent possible. Anyway, if you guys want to follow me, you can go do so right down there at Bash Sky. Just go ahead and type it in, and it should pop up for, as Christine Waysense McCarthy would say, for all of the robust discussion right there. And if you guys want to see me, it's gonna be on the Orange Grove 55 YouTube channel, hosted by the amazing person down below right there, where I have a show on there, Freshly Squeezed, your source for juicy news and info, squeezed fresh, right from the Grove. And because, well, we're on Ethan's channel, and because we're talking about Universal, I would be remiss if I didn't play the drop.
And because how are you?
I am doing fantastic. I'm excited to talk all about the studio tour, Starcruiser, Velocicoaster, all that good stuff. You can find me on YouTube, Orange Grove 55, and you can find me on Twitter at Orange Grove 55. And because I'm a crazy, dirty Disney person,
everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
There we go. Little Disney drop for you.
And don't forget, you can buy all this shit on OG55 at, I don't know what your shop link is, but you have one in.
Yeah, it's on there.
And he won't, unlike me, he won't rip you off. Yeah.
Sean Ranking the Mouse in the chat. Oh. Hey, what is going on, good sir?
Sean boy. Sean boy. Goodness, I know you guys try to FaceTime me, and then he's going to call me the next day, and you never did. Very upsetting. Just kidding. Just call me whenever you're not free. I mean, when you're free. Hope you enjoyed your trip. Little Disneyland trip. He's gone there for 2 days. And he better be there in July. I think he's going to be there at the same time we're going to be there in July. So, see you soon, Mr. Sean. And before you zoom in, boy, this month, is it May? I hope so. The first couple have already usually would have come out by now, so maybe we'll get.
We're halfway to Halloween. Where's Universal with the
I know
announcement? Come on, man.
So secretive. And then this comment, see, this one's very interesting because I didn't think about it until just now. It kind of ties in with the Studio 2 rumor. Makes sense, right? Right? They have to reroute this thing. So why not make it an upcharge? Curious. Maybe they tie it together. Let's talk about it. So there's a rumor out there from Universal Core, but what should we call it? It was in surveys a while ago, a couple years ago, that the the studio tour, they said, oh, what would you think if we upcharge your experience? And then I don't know. I guess a lot of people probably would say no, but that's the rumor out there. So, upcharging. Dre hates it. OG hates it. I kind of like it. Oops. But studio tour may be upcharged. Who do you know? What do you guys think in the chat? What do you think, OG? Oh, and do you think it has something to do with, hey, we have to reroute this thing anyway because the coaster track has to go right over it. So why not reroute it and make it a new experience at the same time? What do you think?
Okay, so here's the thing. Yeah, the tram tour is like my favorite thing at Universal. It separates Universal from everything else because you can't get that at Disney and you can't get that at Knott's or any other place. So I really love the trip. You can't even
get that at Universal in Florida either.
That's exactly. So it's a great experience. I think that right now, you have a park, Universal Hollywood. It's seen as kind of a half-day park, right? There's not a whole lot to do. Now, it's getting better for sure, but it's still kind of like slim pickings on the rides compared to, like, say, a Disneyland, park or whatever, right? So why would you take the one thing that eats up a lot of your, not a lot of your day, but a good chunk of your day? It's a 45-minute to an hour experience. Why would you get rid of that and make it an upcharge event? upcharge element in your park. If you took away the tram and you just did the rides, that's not, you can finish that park by like 1 o'clock. I mean, I just think it's a bad idea. Now, here's the thing. I'm not completely opposed to the idea long term. We've heard rumors that, that Universal is pumping $1 billion+ into this resort, soon to be resort, and they're going to add a lot of new attractions and what have you. When they flush the park out more, then you can go ahead and take the tram out and make it an upcharge. But right now, it just doesn't have enough to do to warrant them removing the tram tour and making it an upcharge event, in my opinion. But what do you think, Dr. Dre? Upcharging the tram, good, bad, ugly, indifferent?
I think it's a terrible decision, especially right now, for the reasons that you say, right? Because it is limited in capacity in terms of the actual attraction ride count. And moreover, I mean, think about what that would do to the capacity of the entire park, right? When you have a people eater that comes offline permanently, and where all those crowds go? You see like the just ocean of switchbacks that are down there at the tram loading zone. Where does all that capacity go? It gets distributed out to your attractions. And so I think it's really, really a bad move operationally. And also to the perception that now this is an upcharged kind of extra cost feature, I think is not the best perception to actually have, especially right now for the reasons OG said with the lack of attractions in general. And here's the thing, logistically, it kind of gets a little bit in the weeds as well, because I remember hearing about the tram tour being this kind of thing where you could possibly buy into it from City Walk, and you wouldn't necessarily have to go through the theme park to actually do that. But we know that the tram tour is now going to take place, or at least it's heavily rumored, and I do believe you are correct in this, that it's going to the tram loading zone is going to take the place of the Mummy. Which, if that's true, then the only way you can get to that is through the theme park. So that doesn't quite work either. And so you're going to be very limited in terms of how many people can actually use this thing. Now, Wizard has a contrarian point on this, and I think it is very, very interesting. But first, before that, Ranking the Mouse, yes, thoughts on a possible 2 hotels at Universal Studios Hollywood. I'll say this very quickly. No, I don't think it's too much availability at all. I think it's just right now, there is no availability really at all in terms of hotel options near that area. It's actually very hard to do so. I recently went on a trip in which the person next to me said, hey, do they have any hotels at Universal Studios Hollywood? And it's like, no, they don't. And that's one of the things that's missing. So I think guests want it for sure. I think it would edge it to be a destination resort in a way that it hasn't been before. And with the Olympics coming up and the World Cup coming up, I think they're going to position it in a solid position to be a destination resort for that kind of clientele coming in.
I completely agree with Dre on this. The hotels that's a great move by Universal, and Ranking, my feelings on like Disneyland Resort. I think they should cater more to tourists. I just do. I think that they should go in that direction, not completely eliminate locals. Obviously, it's a big market for them, but they should try to court more out of towners, And I think it's smart for Universal with these 2 hotels to do that, right? And there's a hunger for that right now. I think for Universal, Orlando's getting fed very well with the Universal hotels. Why not bring some of that love over here to California? I think it will be very successful if they were to do that. It almost overnight change the perception of that park, because when you add a hotel, what happens to the mindset of the normies? Oh, there's a hotel, there must be a whole lot to do there, I better book it. So it's a brilliant move. They should absolutely do it. And from what we understand, there's permits filed for these hotels already. So it seems like it's going to happen.
Now, Wizard, correct me if I'm wrong. According to those permits, these resort hotels aren't going to be that big, right? I mean, they're going to be pretty modest in terms of their room availability, or how many rooms are we talking about?
Each. So 1,000 rooms total. 500 rooms, yeah. So 1,000 rooms total. And then, it's a start. And then, and the next plan, I'm sure they can use some more parking space for more rooms, if they keep selling out or something.
Do you know what the park currently does in terms of capacity? Anywhere between 20,000, 40,000, somewhere near there?
It's usually around 33,000. Like, I remember working at Harry Potter. This is before Nintendo opened. I was at Harry Potter, and they said, park's been very busy today, about 37,000. I'm okay. So somewhere around 30 to upper 30s. Maybe a 40 with Nintendo space now. So maybe like 40-ish. on sold out days,
Okay. So a fair percentage of your population can stay on property. I think that's fine. I don't think there's too much room availability. But ranking's very interesting because he knows that kind of metric. So I wonder what he has to say about that. Go ahead, Wizard.
Oh, yes. I was going to say also, even just for me as a local, right? There have been times, I don't live too far away. OG kind of knows how far his house is from the City Walk. It's not too far.
Not far,
but like, if you want to do something like, horror nights, right? And you're walking around all day and then you just say you're off tomorrow, I'm going to work. It's 2 a.m. I'd book a hotel room instead of driving all the way back on the freeway for another 20 minutes. I was like, why don't I just stay the night? It's 2 a.m. I'm tired. I feel like for 8 horror nights, even for locals, I feel like a lot of people would opt to just stay the night, especially if they want to go to the park the next day.
No, that's a great option. Yeah, you're right. It's getting late. Let's book a room.
Ranking also makes a good point in here as well about City Walk being an amazing downtown shopping dining area. I think it is, but I think its heyday was actually in the 90s, just because of what was actually there, the mixture of event spaces and so forth. But with a hotel on site, that changes what facilities you can have there, right? Maybe you do bring back a nightclub type venue because there's a hotel right there. If people get drunk, no worries, they can sleep right there. So, it kind of changes that as well, and I think we'll get a little bit more a variety of things that could go in there just because of a hotel presence.
Yeah, back in my day, and I'm older than you gentlemen, but back in my day, I used to actually go clubbing out there in City Walk. Saddle Ranch was I've been there quite a bit.
Young OG.
Now let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West.
Oh, and Ranking the Mouse here says, anyone got advice for me and OG on how to ride Forbidden Journey without having a heart attack? You know what? That's true, Ranking. It's a shame too because I want to love that ride. I just can't do those damn vehicles. They're too claustrophobic. And actually, even Wizard, I've been with you to Universal now. Even Wizard kind of opts out, right? Me and Wizard,
especially after I had a big meal, I'm like, ooh, hold on, man. But I went on it with my friend last night. I didn't know last night, but a couple times ago, I was like, ooh, it's pretty good. He thinking there that have you ever gotten stuck in here? I'm like, one time. It was like 5 minutes. He's like, oh gosh. I was like, I know it. I was like, don't look down.
Yeah. Well, if you can look down, if they're stuck on your back in the Weeping Willow scene, you're.
That's the one right there.
Damn, that gets me every time. Yeah, we'll see.
I think of you, OG. I'm like, oh, hold on. I want to be like OG. Let's kind of whip it around real quick.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any advice. Maybe just have a few drinks before you go, kind of take the edge off. That might help with some people.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't really know. It's a rough one for me though.
You got to stop off at the what's the nearby tavern there? The Hogshead, is that right?
Oh,
there you go.
Man.
Maybe down a couple of those first before going on. Maybe
it'd be good. Just numb the pain.
Oh, man. But yes, on the studio tour. Man, okay, so me personally, I don't. But you would have asked me if I should upcharge it. I'm like, no, don't upcharge it. I don't mind, but no matter what happens, I still think a significant shortening should happen. Like a rerouting and shorting. Even I say something like so short, not so short. Make it a more. If they're gonna shorten it, but not shorten it, and use smaller vehicles, something where it doesn't take so much of the park's acreage. They should do like the VIP things. You buy the VIP and you get your own personalized tour. That's what I told Dre. I was like, wait, if they're gonna upcharge it, at least give me that, right? Do an upcharge and make it like the little VIP little bus, and you get out and walk the sets. Then I feel like, all right, go ahead, upcharge. But then if not, I still think you should significantly shorten it around, do something so where you can, take away some of this big open space, and then use it for more exciting experiences. More, and you can in that process update some things. You can add a new like Nona, I think the solution is a new thing, like I guess a show scene, like a King Kong or an earthquake, more
Pull
another
through.
experience
They call
like
it a
that.
pull
Yeah,
through.
pull through. Yeah, instead of, I mean, nope, it's not really like that. And I guess it tries to be, but it's not. You know, you just look at it. But like, we need another action sequence, a pull through, so to
I
speak,
agree.
and then. And that way it can make up for taking away, like you can, because those, you know, you sitting in it, it's like it takes a couple minutes. So the suture length could be around the same time frame if you take away acreage and put more pull throughs. You know what I'm talking about? So even again, I don't think, I mean, if you were to ask me, I don't want to pay for it. But if they did, I mean, just to do something more like that, even if they don't do that, they should still do something more like that, in my opinion, and shorten it, but you know, more experiences. Because people, that's all they talk about. The War of the Worlds is pretty cool, but I hear more people talking about King Kong and even Fast and Furious in the war. Like, no, any of the other non-pull-through activities.
Right.
No.
Did someone say Fast and Furious?
Thank you very much.
Oh, yes. I saw her
man.
just on her shotgun. She's like, I'm Mr. Nobody's daughter. Oops, spoiler. But
Whoops.
Any ideas on upcoming entertainment? I feel like, I know, right? We need more than one major live show. Boy,
Yeah,
that
we
stage never came. That stage never came to fruition in that the plaza. They took away the mention of animal actors there. But boy, hopefully we get a Born or something.
Remember the old
because-
Western
yeah,
show
another
back in the
live
day?
indoor.
That was freaking awesome.
Oh, that was great. And Waterworld, I love
Mhm.
Waterworld. We saw that recently together, guys, and that was that's a great show. It's
that's
one of those things where it's one of those things where like the movie, like no one probably remembers that movie. Like no one like you know these Gen Zers have no idea what that is. But it but it's a show that works though on its own as its own thing, like theme park thing, right? And I think it's one of the best offerings at that park. Actually, I really like it. It's funny as hell too.
It is pretty funny, and thank goodness that person that fell that one time is a-okay, because
Good.
boy, we need a nice live show. You know, there's not many live shows, like stunt shows in general. I feel like, I mean, I'm especially not one where planes start hopping up on onto the lakes. Like Disneyland does that. I guess Fantasmic would be the closest type of board. But even
That's
like
no longer
across
available.
yeah,
But you know what would be interesting though for Fantasmic? It just came to me, like have like the plane in Waterworld, have that land into the rivers of America for Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that'd be
That'd be
awesome.
sick, dude. That'd be sick.
That'd be cool.
That would be like a wow factor.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, man.
Aren't they saying that they might add extra magic to Fantasmic when it returns?
Yeah, and see, this is the thing with
they added good magic, because the last time they did that, I didn't think people liked it too much.
Well, yeah, and the thing with this is that I think what they're trying to figure out is because the dragon's going to be gone probably for a year or a long time.
Yes.
So they got to figure out like a real solution for a while, you know? So anything that they're going to be, any new magic is going to be, I think it'll still be temporary, but it'll be something that has to kind of be good enough to go 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, a year until they get this dragon in there. So I don't know.
Do you think they might, maybe there's a chance, maybe, I know we can't bring TikTok back, but can we do Peter Pan? Maybe,
I know.
You know, can we
Did you say
changes
TikTok
here?
back? I'm confused.
The crocodile.
Yeah, the crocodile.
Oh my goodness, I'm thinking the app. I'm confused.
Oh no.
Did they get rid of the Peter Pan segment for like because the movie's problematic, or was it just to promote pirates? I don't really know.
I think it was just synergy with pirates. I don't think they
Probably pirates, yeah, because that was around.
Pirates was supposed to be so effects laden that it was going to overshadow everything. So I think it was like an effects showcase at a time when Pirates of the Caribbean was really popular, and it's like, okay, I think this like works roughly. Unfortunately, it was just never a great solution. It was just it didn't all come together the way they thought, right? Because originally they were supposed to have this kind of projection mapping to the extent where you had the skeleton crew go in and out of human and skeleton,
Oh, that's dope.
Like as they would go through the ship, and the moonlight would be shining on them, and it was supposed to be really, really cool. That never happened because the choreography was just so precise. There was no way you could train that night after night after night. So they scrapped that idea. It became a much more simplistic type effects showcase, and what we got is what we got.
There's no chance that we're gonna get palps on that island.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
Oh, does
That'd
Mickey's
be
imagination
cool.
include Star Wars? I don't know. I don't know.
I am altering the deed.
There you go.
Pray I don't alter it any further.
Hopefully.
You know, well, something that's gonna have lots of new magic, literally new magic, is in Florida. Oh boy, and it's gonna be epic magic. Epic magic. How epic will the magic be? Who knows? You know, there's a few select individuals on Twitter that are quite sure it won't be quite as magical as some may seem. There's a few individuals that think it's gonna take down the Magic Kingdom. Oh gosh! And then
take them down.
There's another few individuals that are like, yeah, fuck this part. No, but boy, oh boy, no matter what, Universal's still building it. Oh boy, and it's gonna be an epic universe master. Now look, the buildings themselves are going to be going according to plan. Right, except for that, added a roller coaster, took away a Harry Potter stupid VR broomstick ride. Good stuff, right? Then permits are suggested because people are like, respectfully so, right? You see the facades, right? But boy, what if they start? Are the insides of the buildings gonna be still like, pretty cool? Or are just gonna be empty like shells? And obviously, I'm sure some animatronics and maybe a piece with a screen or two, cost cutting, right? Sure. But the permits so far suggest, major things like the windmill is supposed to light up on fire in the classic Monsters Land. That permit was filed, right?
That's cool.
Some of the permits for the massive e-ticket classic monsters or like Escape from Frankenstein, whatever it's called, have been filed and like on point. The fire effects have been water and fire effects have been submitted or permitted for those. How to Train Your Dragon, that area with the statue is gonna do something, So it seems at least a lot of cool stuff is still popping up there. But what do you think? I don't know. By the way, I don't think it will take down anybody, in terms of the Magic Kingdom like some people. But what do you guys think on the taking down of the Magic Kingdom? Analyzing the parks. Is it going to be as cool as possible? Is it going to be an epic failure? Is it going to be what is it going to be so we can shut these Twitter people up? God damn.
Shut them up. Here we go. I'm gonna say I'm gonna have kind of a little bit of a nuanced opinion, but I still might come off as a bad guy.
You're naked, so you can point your fucking fingers.
Yeah, I'll be the bad guy just for a little bit. Now, to answer your questions, Ethan, I do think Epic Universe, if we're looking at it as its own thing, it will be a huge success. I think it'll be very popular, at least the first summer, first year. I think it's going to really pack them in, for sure. I don't think anyone can really argue otherwise. But I do have questions, though, because I do think that there is a case to be made when you have Universal Studios or Orlando Park, kind of a half-day experience. When you add a third park into that mix, what does it do to that park, right? The cannibalizations, right? I think that's a fair point. Now, it might not cannibalize, but I think that is a possibility that I think that, maybe we should consider. I also think that in terms of it being less epic or like having cuts, here's the thing. Now, we know Mice Chat said that, and I know a lot of Universal fans don't really trust Mice Chat because they're like a Disney site or whatever. But Dre and I actually have a source who's been very reliable for us personally that we call Dude Trust Me Bro. And Dude Trust Me Bro is saying similar things that what Mice Chat's saying. And he's or she is kind of saying that like there has been an effect with the supply chain shortages and the inflation and building this thing during the lockdowns and the pandemic. There has been a monetary, like a budget effect on it. It's a tangible, real thing.
Harmonious or Starcruiser, those kind of things.
Right. And that's the thing. You're not going to see some of that stuff in the permits. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, for Harmonious, they have a permit to build the taco bars in the ring. Well, they built those, but they just didn't make them where they can leave the lagoon in the day. So it's like you would look at those permits and go, well, see, it's just as they planned, but it really wasn't, because that one detail that may not be in the permit has changed. So I think that the park will be a quality place, but I do think there has been cuts because of just when the park was built. I mean, you're talking right in the middle of the freaking pandemic. And I'm not even shitting on Universal for that. Most companies are going to cut when you have steel prices going through the roof, you have inflation, you got this, that, and the other, you have labor shortages and supply chain shortages. It's going to impact the project, and I think it has. But at the end of the day, that's not me saying like, oh, the park's going to suck. I just think that there has been cuts here and there, and we'll see how it ends up ultimately. Go ahead, Dre.
And that also increases, like, the risk potential, right? Because maybe you've budgeted a certain amount for, and you projected it out, 6 years, because, that's how long it takes to construct these things. And then in the middle of all of this, you have this very disruptive thing that is, 2020 and beyond. And then that also led to supply chain disruptions, pricing, everything that you talked about right there. So your investment goes up. So now the stakes are even higher and so forth. So it's like, well, maybe we pull back in order to make this investment more feasible or profitable because of our ROI statement and stuff. There's like a whole, there's tons of stuff that goes into decisions like these. So if you see them kind of cutting, like, it's understandable, but the problem is when people are given their hard-earned dollars to pay for this thing and get in here, nobody kind of thinks like that, right? They just see the final product. And as we saw with Nintendo, for example, people can be harsh at times. And will that actually happen with Epic Universe? I don't see how it can't, but is it done to a point where it really kind of detracts from the product? I think they might go more modest than they maybe did, or maybe that Disney did in some instances when it came to some of their projects. I think the integrity of this park will have been preserved. The question is really, will it move the needle? That's an open question right there. I think this is the first theme park to be built in the social media era. So a lot of people are going to be coming down. They're going to be looking at social media posts, and they're going to be really hyped. And there's going to be some FOMO that will lead to additional attendance. Will that cannibalize from the other parks? We will see. Will that increase spending for the resort itself? Will it cannibalize not only attendance but spending at Walt Disney World? We remember that was kind of what got Disney off their laurels when it came to Harry Potter and that land in 2010. When that debuted, it was like, oh, hold up. It's not so much the attendance, it was the spending. So it's like, okay, we have to have big, heavy hitters of our own. That's how we got Avatar, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and all those kind of experiences over at Walt Disney World. So there's gonna be a lot to gauge this on, but we are hearing from credible sources that, maybe this park might not be as mind-blowing as some people are putting in their heads that it will be. And maybe that hurts it.
Yeah, we'll see. But you know what? There's one thing, though, that Universal should be worried about, is that we're getting a prison on Walt Disney World property. What about you, Universal? You going to get Supermax?
Supermax. You now. I can't believe you spoiled this, OG. We were going to go live with this tomorrow. That's what they're going to use the Starcruiser. Come on, man. Yeah, gotta bury the lead sometimes.
But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see in a couple of years. See how it pops in. And obviously stuff they can add in later, and they have a couple of expansion pads that they can make it cooler.
Right.
Well, and that's the beauty of these places, is that it's none of this stuff is like set in stone forever. With DCA, it opened and they were able to add and plus and change. So even if the rumors are true that they scaled back a little bit, that doesn't really, it's not the end of the world for the park. Like in 3 and 4 years, they can plus it and revisit it, and these things evolve over time anyway. So,
And very interesting to see what happens, because also Mr. Trust Me Bro seems to think Avatar experience is not a big deal. So
That's what he or she is saying. Yeah, which is interesting. And Dre, we were talking on the phone about this going, but everything is pointing in the opposite direction though. So I don't know. I don't know.
I think this is gonna be pretty substantial.
I remember they told me on the train, they said, oh, it's nothing. I'm like, oh, okay, we'll see. But
when did you ask, do you trust me, bro? How long ago was that?
That was, oh boy. That was like when we were all on the train, it was like a long time ago. I was like, I think it was right
January?
after when we were there.
Like February.
Yeah,
and Sean was there too. It was like, it was like February something. We were all on the train at Toontown, actually. Toontown was still under construction.
We should ask him again. I'm very curious what he or she says.
They, them pronouns.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Come on.
Jeez Louise. Girl Power Coasters. What do we have for drift updates?
Oh, I'll get right to that. But just quickly for Universal Studios Florida.
Please.
Because that is I still never been to Universal Orlando. So sad. But January. That was January. That's right. Oh yeah, because we all went on Runaway Railway. It was just open.
Yes.
We were there for that. Okay, gotcha.
January.
Cool. Good job, Sean. Thanks. But for Florida, it seems like, and it may not work, but at least it seems like Universal's thinking about it. Because they seem to be, trying to, I guess, counterbalance, right, with the potential Zelda expansion and Island of Adventure to open up maybe in 2026, and they're doing some the new DreamWorks thing in Florida and the Minions thing. So I feel like Universal's like also thinking about cannibalization too, and it's gonna probably, if they can, try to off-balance that with some major like new addition, probably in I'm guessing the Fear Factor area, which they closed for that. The second option for that Harry Potter
the Broom Adventure, right?
Yeah, they canceled that for Hollywood and Orlando. Thank gosh. Woo! Blessing in the sky. Can I tell you how terrible this thing was going to be? It was going to be like sit on this broomstick and put a VR headset, I think, on, which I automatically hit. I don't like putting things. I don't like 3D, I don't like 3D glasses. I don't like VR headsets. I'm just not that type of person for anything. I don't even like Transformers 3D glasses. I hate putting on something on my head. And then you're just like flying around on like a like broomstick, but like the broomstick's like
I think Dre has you have footage of this, Dre?
Yeah. Do you have it? I'm waiting to share the thing.
I think so. Let me just see here.
Sean rings the memories. But yeah,
it was in Asia, and I'm trying to find it right here.
Yeah, and there's like I remember when Orlando Park Stop did an example, a version of it, and people were like sitting on bikes, and it looked horrible. Oh, just horrible. I was like, please don't put that. It would be like, let me tell you something. That could have been potentially the worst ride Universal's ever built since Fast and Furious Supercharged. I'm putting it out there.
Oh wow, that's bold. That's a bold.
The way it looked, and I hope Greg can find the footage, because look, OG, when you look at this, whether we get it now or after, sometime after the stream, you'll be like, wow, that looks horrible. We dodged a bullet there. Woo!
So was the whole thing like a VR experience, or was there some physical element to it where you're riding through something at all, or is it just
it's like
VR?
You're just sitting there. You're just VR. The only thing you'll physical will be like you're sitting on the broomstick or whatever it is, and then you're looking at probably a VR screen, and then just up and down, but it's very stationary. It's meant to be a very compact type of thing. It just takes up one space. Oh, good. I think you found it. What's up, E to get insight? GR Power Coasters. Okay, drift updates tomorrow. While he's looking for that. Oh, there it is. Will be I'll get right back to it. Okay, yeah, something like this. See, so you're sitting on these bikes, put these stupid headsets on that'll probably fall off. Then you're just going up and down, but you're not on a track or anything. It's just just up and down, up. It just looks like something I can build. Like this looks like it's in a garage. That's probably not, but I mean, it's something I can put in my own garage. I mean, it looks horrible. So
the idea is you have a 4x4 layout of these motorcycles, right? And it's all in the middle of the room. and people board them, and your VR headset is hanging right in front of you. So similar to what is it? Super Nintendo World's what is it? The Mario
AR
Kart,
goggle.
right?
Yeah.
You put a headset on first, get yourself all adjusted, and then your VR headset is sitting right there, just above your sorry, hit the mic, just above your motorcycle itself, right? And then when you hop on your motorcycle, you put this on, and boom, you have your adventure play out. And this motorcycle is simulated underneath you, and it's synced up with the visuals on screen.
Can you share my screen? I have some leaked footage actually of the attraction itself.
Sure.
Of course. Let's see what we got here.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is.
Very, very similar. Not nearly as attractive, though.
Great. This should be my thumbnail for this. This is great.
But the idea for the Harry Potter version would have been the same kind of thing, but instead of motorcycles, there would have been broomsticks in the middle of the room, and your VR headset would be floating above it, and that would be what you connected to your
Fast and Furious Supercharged. My goodness. And you can tell me in the chat what you guys think about that horrible idea below. But yeah, point is, since we don't get the worst rides since Fast and Furious Supercharged, I'm thinking Universal Studios Florida will go, because I think that area, goodness, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that area is near another big open space where if they combine them, they can actually make something pretty decent. So I feel like they'll probably invest in that area to try to counterbalance any cannibalization from Epic Universe, if I'm guessing. But I'm just glad we didn't get this. Oh God. Ooh wee! I almost threw a party when I heard that was canceled.
Before we leave Florida, I just wanted to go ahead and ask you, Wizard. So, big rumors for Islands of Adventure during this whole thing. A replacement for the Poseidon Adventure, maybe Zelda, right?
Come on,
and
OG.
then...
Sorry, we got to go back to the broomstick footage real quick while you talk.
Okay, give me one sec. It's hold on, I'll get it. Here we go.
I agree with this.
There we go. While you're talking, I think it's a good little. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, that broomstick was very attractive.
There we go. All right, continue, Dr. Dre.
Perfect. I see. So, Wizard, for the replacement to Spider-Man, we're supposed to be getting maybe Pokemon, the same thing that maybe Universal Japan is getting, and then for Poseidon Adventure replacement, maybe Zelda. Have you heard anything in terms of updates for those two things?
Poseidon, yeah, that was looking like a Zelda. Good old sorry, I'm imagining a Zelda that makes me think of this other YouTube channel who's really liking this idea, and he brings it up a lot. So funny. But and then Islands of Adventure, I mean the other across the pond. If they do again, see, that's what I keep saying. If they do a Marvel thing with Disney and swap rights or whatever, turn that area to a Pokemon land would be fantastic, right? You can just this is hilarious.
Yes, folks, we only have high-class stuff on this show.
Because right, you already did the research and development for the ride, so you can just implement it everywhere. Universal likes to do that, even if it's years later. They can still do it, and then you replace other stuff with I mean, Hulk is very lightly themed, right? It's very easy to replace, and then it'd be another good spot to put interactive elements, right? Take Pokemon Go to the next level, and you can do something really cool if you made that area a Pokemon area. And as OG always states very correctly, you can't do much with the Marvel land, right? You can only update it and paint it, because you can't add a new one, and you can't let it deteriorate because you have to go up to standard. So you actually have to spend money. What do you think about that, Jessica? She agrees. See, she turned her head.
No, you're right. I mean, the Marvel thing, the Marvel Island, I think eventually Universal is going to want to break away from that, just because I feel like what you just said, Ethan, is and I've said it many times too on many videos, they can't add anything to it. Eventually, they're going to want to put something in there that they can actually expand and grow. I mean, the Pokemon thing would be fantastic. That would be an instant hit for them. But Universal has really stepped up their IP game lately. They really have. And they have options now. You know what I'm saying? They own DreamWorks Animation. They own a lot of great stuff. They have great partnerships with like Nintendo and what have you. They have options. And I think that they should really start looking into that because look, Marvel's fantastic. I'm a huge Marvel person, but this Marvel land is very rooted in the comic books. It feels already very outdated, and it's only going to look more and more outdated as time goes on. So they should really start to work something out with Disney and get that done. I think pretty soon, actually.
I agree.
Yeah, I totally agree. But yes, Hubble, it'll be very interesting to watch Islands of Adventure. Just as we watch the prison being built over at Disney World over there. New Spirit Halloween has opened up next to Hollywood Studios. Well, I guess not yet. I guess it will be around Halloween. In October, Spirit Halloween will pop up to oh, there goes Jessica. But pop up next to Hollywood Studios for all your discounted Halloween ideas. I'll have plenty of on Star Wars costumes as well, which would be quite nice. You know,
the Starcruiser news was crazy, like because everyone kind of saw it coming a mile away. We all knew it wasn't successful, but I think we're all just kind of surprised that Disney just cut bait completely. Like I was thinking, like they're gonna try to do the deals. They'll try to add like the original trilogy and the prequels in there, and really try to make it work. And the fact that they just were like, nope, we're done. We're just going to close it down. I was really surprised by that. I mean, it's a bold move. And honestly, it's probably the right move. Why throw good money after bad? If it's not working and you don't feel like you can make it work, why not put that money that you would have poured into this thing into something that's a little bit more of a sure thing or that guests might enjoy more? So it's a bad headline for Disney, but I think long term it was probably the right decision. Go ahead, Dre.
But I'll tell you, before when I was asked this question, like, what do you think the future of the Starcruiser can be? This was back when it first opened, right? We were starting to see our first images coming out of this thing. The first video goodbye there, Sean. Do appreciate you joining us for a spell. I think Ordinary Adventures just had their first video, right? I think DFB Guide had their first video, and when we started seeing what this really was, not just the poor advertising campaign that they had, it became very clear that it was I think something that was appealing to a subset of individuals out there, and especially as this kind of emerging generation who kind of grows in this kind of more interactive world around us, maybe there is a market in which they expect experiences like this, right? So it's like there is kind of like long-term potential here, but I just thought the mixture of elements just wasn't there, right? There's no bad products, just bad price points. This price point was just way too large for what was being offered there, and I thought the IP mix, focusing solely on the sequel trilogy in order to line it up with Batu, I thought was a bad choice. So I thought, hey, you know what? This thing's never going to close, but I can see them kind of reshaping this into a more maybe inclusive timeline that kind of included more characters, included what is it? A larger whole of Star Wars, right? The Force from all sides kind of thing, to paraphrase Palpatine. So, that's kind of what I thought was going to happen to it. So, I agree with you, OG. I was shocked that they're just like, nope, we are getting out of this completely. That I did not previously expect and expecting to see. And honestly, when you think about it, that doesn't really happen with Disney. They never let go of something like this. They always try to make it work and make it seem like it's a success or something like that. And it's just, even with deep discounts. I know Tom Corliss included in his video about it saying, oh, it was starting to work. It was starting to work. That reputation that it had accrued for that whole year being at a set price point doesn't get upended just because you lower the price at certain times and so forth, right? There is always that consumer expectation. And I think that really kind of hurt it in the long run. And then you can only price for profitability. So, there was a floor there that you couldn't go under to get more people in.
Well,
that's the point.
And Tom is looking from the outside looking in. He was saying it's starting to work. It's starting to work. Well, it clearly wasn't. Like, it can be busy, doesn't necessarily mean profitable.
Right.
That's the difference. So
there's a video from, I believe, Adam the Woo, Tim Tracker, who had recently just gone on the Starcruiser right before this announcement actually occurred, probably a week before. And you could see, even with those deep discounts, even with those offerings and promotions and whatever, it was still like a third of the way full. And you can only imagine what that would look like if they didn't have those discounts in. So it wasn't there. I'm sorry.
no.
And, our good great channel was at Attractions 360, and I think LMG Vids, right? They both of them went over to overseas to two different Star Wars, futuristic. It's not even Star Wars, futuristic titles. I was like, I tried to find the image, but I couldn't find those images there. But they showed images from their trip, and they said it was $300 a night. And this hotel automatically looked, way more Star Warsy or futuristic and at a much cheaper price point than the Starcruiser. I get, and I feel like a lot of the cost, because for the price was, there's a lot of cast members and talent, and it's like a show, and I feel like it's pricey for Disney to pay them. So again, that price floor there, but yeah, it just looked like, I feel like people would absolutely adore a hotel like that one, the one in Paris, and then at a pool, either an indoor or outdoor pool, right? Because I know Dre and I were talking about a pool, like some kind of pool experience. I think I was gonna share the screen. I think I just closed the screen. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I think I have it right here.
There we go.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
And then inside, it looks so cool. And then I feel like and look, it's actually the same level as the Starcruiser. It's 3 stories like the Starcruiser is. It's kind of small like the Starcruiser is. The only thing probably this hotel doesn't have is, the live entertainment, the LARPing, which I'm sure most people, wouldn't mind if it's not there, because I think that was another thing. Oh, see, look at that. Wow. But,
yeah, the blue.
It's pretty cool.
The LARPing, right? I think Jack from DSMI Newscast, he made a good point. He's, people are spending, what $5,000, right, to go to the hotel. But then, they obviously want to go to the parks too, not just Hollywood, not just Galaxy's Edge. So that's an additional, another $1,000 maybe to leave the hotel and go to Disney World property, to go to all 4 parks on their own vacation, right? And then at a hotel, they also made the point, people want to not be constantly going and going and going. They want to relax sometimes after a long day in the parks and maybe sit at a pool. And so that's why I think a ultra themed Star Wars hotel experience, hotel like this, and then but you don't have to do anything. You can, if you want, you can engage in activities like the lightsaber battles, but you're not forced to. You can sit, but you can send your kids to do it, but you can just sit back in the room, relax, go to the pool, go downstairs, eat. I feel like if they were to amend it to something like that, I think the Star Wars hotel would be super successful. It's funny because that particular section looks exactly like the Star Wars Starcruiser.
Yeah,
exactly like the Starcruiser. So
and this actually opened later than the Starcruiser, so I'm sure they got their inspiration from the Starcruiser because it opened like a year or two later.
Doesn't it look like the Chandrila Starline logo, right? Just a little bit.
Yeah,
it does. You could tell they definitely drew their inspiration from it.
Yeah,
and Disney could have done something like this, but the thing is, I think Disney looked at it and went, well, we can pour millions and millions and millions into changing it to this and still maybe not make money because maybe people don't even like this.
Right.
Or we can cut bait and we can put towards something that we know people will like, or there's more of a sure bet. And I think they decided on the latter.
Well, yeah, it's sunk cost, and I don't necessarily disagree with their assessment of it and kind of cut and bait where you have to. It's so purpose-built, too, that converting it into a Star Wars hotel just by itself, without a pool, without a spa, without a lot of the amenities that people expect from a signature hotel experience from Walt Disney World, that doesn't quite work either. I understand why they walked away from it, but I'm just shocked. And it just kind of goes to show you that the cheap comes out expensive. They kind of cheapened out on the product when it came to the Galactic Starcruiser. And, well, when you charge that much, people expect first-rate accommodations. And you know, that was a constant refrain. I think Penguins Zero on YouTube, a famous YouTuber, famous streamer, he's got like 1.4 million views on his video covering this, and he says that constantly, over and over again. It's like, dude, it's a prison. It's no windows. It's, you know, I can't believe anybody would pay $4,000 for that. And for a lot of people, that was that was just one step too far. If it was something like the Maricosta over there in Tokyo, I mean, maybe that's a different discussion, right, at that specific price point. But a lot of people don't feel like, oh, I'm paying for the equity actors and I'm paying for the interactive experience, I'm paying for that. They see the hotel room, they see the price, and they say no, you know. And unfortunately, that's kind of how people work, especially with an emerging experience like this. That people
I say the I hope this doesn't scare Disney or even Universal, because I like the concept was super cool, like this, like a super themed hotel to something like Harry Potter or Star Wars or Marvel. I think they should still go full on and just make tweaks. I just hope that, especially for Disney, like this doesn't like scare them to never do something like this again. You know what I'm saying? Like an Indiana Jones temple style hotel, like be pretty cool. Like they should do this thing and maybe just take away the LARPing or just purposeful for just relaxation, but then here's some additional activities you can do or send your kids to do while you relax in a super themed hotel, because the super theme part is super. Like I would say the Starcruiser, if it wasn't $5,000 and I could stay in a super themed Star Wars experience, because again, this looked awesome, the Starcruiser looked awesome. There's just too much money and there's a lot of activities. I feel like if you tweak some things, I just hope. Do you think this will scare them away from trying another super immersive hotel again, or do you think they'll rework it and try in a few years?
I think that for now they're done with that concept. I think for now that they're not going to risk it again. But I think I don't think it's completely off the table going forward. Like years from now, we might see a similar concept with maybe some other franchise, maybe Star Wars again. Who knows? I think Universal might dip their toe into something like this, like what you said with Harry Potter. Jurassic World would be a dope concept for a hotel experience. Yeah. Really, really cool. There's potential with this concept. Like I got to give it. Look, I know a lot of people don't like Bob Chapek, but this was a really, really interesting concept. it was just not good execution. Yeah. And got to give him at least credit for that concept, though. It's actually really smart. So I hope, Ethan, to answer your question, I really hope they do readdress it and they make it work. Star Wars, though, is a tough one, though, because it's like it's a dirty environment. It's not. I don't know. It's like Harry Potter, like it lends itself to that. Like you would sleep like a baby in one of those those Hogwarts castle. I mean, with the little fire lamps and stuff. Oh God, you sleep like a baby. But in Star Wars, a lot of the environments in Star Wars are not like super cozy. You know what I'm saying? So
think about it. If they made it like a, even if they literally took like a hotel on, what do you say, Coruscant? The big city.
Oh, Coruscant.
Yeah. Like that's like a people-made Star Wars city. So if you just literally said, "Hey, this hotel's Coruscant," and just built that, I mean, like that may have the potential to work.
Good, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are concepts even within the Star Wars universe that do work. It's just the one they chose.
Whoa. Oh yeah, this is a roller coaster restaurant. That's
so this is your food comes out on
it zips down these things. Super cool.
It's very cool.
That's awesome.
Like there's this stuff I think can work. It's just you got to have the execution. You got to have the right, not only IP but theme to go along with that to really kind of immerse people into that experience. Like Hogwarts, like that's like a no-brainer. They should obviously pursue that. I think the thing, two things that have come out of this. First, I think it will kind of scare some executives up from maybe investing in very immersive experiences at a premium price point like this, right? Whether that be a complete withdrawal or maybe a withdrawal of some aspects, we'll see. I also think it'll I think this is a wake-up call for some executives that Star Wars specifically, but with other IPs and franchises, you can't just stick the IP on it, charge an exorbitant price, and expect people to come. I think there is a limit there. I think you do have to kind of cater to the market just a little bit more, rather than kind of forcing them into, hey, you wanted the ultimate experience? Here's a $6,000 Star Wars experience. It's like not everybody's going to go with that if the execution isn't there. In conjunction with maybe the amenities,
but especially
and so forth.
You still can't meet Darth Vader even Palpatine on there. You know,
Exactly.
They still, like
yeah.
you said, stuck with their sequel thing, and not many people like that. You know, so as I learned from Galaxy's Edge, so I don't know. I feel like even if I bet you more bookings would be full, even if they just allowed different storylines with original characters and everything. You know, I feel like that by itself would cause people to pay $5,000 for it. You know?
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. It's a great concept. They just got to work the execution, and I would love to see it from Disney again. I'd love to see it from Universal, to be honest. I mean, I think that there's something here. That there is an idea here. They just gotta figure out what works. And unfortunately, this first go at it didn't work. It just didn't.
Yeah, and see that's cool because this is like when they make the medicine, a brand new medicine, and then the first couple times it fails when they perfect it, and then it's used a wild way. This is like little baby steps, and then over time they'll perfect it, and just like iPhones and computers, it takes a few steps, and then it'll be perfect. And hey, you're right, OG. Bob Chapek, it was his little baby, so gotta give him the credit for trying.
This thing was risky. Usually Disney doesn't do something out of the ordinary like this. The fact that they applied their, a step forward into something that was a little bit off the regular theme park hotel type experience that we've seen over and over again from Disney and other theme park companies, them kind of taking their first steps into a much more immersive experience and with live actors and doing the things that Galaxy's Edge was supposed to offer us initially, but now it's behind the paywall. I do give them credit for pursuing those. It's just, sometimes you fail when you do it. And I think in this case that happened.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing too. Like Bob Chapek gets a lot of crap, right, from the community and stuff. But I gotta say, at least he swung for the fences a little bit. He tried new stuff like this. What has Daddy Josh done? Like, can you name one thing? I can at least respect Bob Chapek for taking a risk and failing. I can respect someone taking the shot and failing over someone who hasn't done anything. Daddy Josh hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
No, not one thing.
What do you mean? He gave us the what if panel.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
A whole bunch of stuff thrown at the wall. Let's see what sticks ultimately. Yeah, if anything. I do agree.
I wonder what he'll give us tomorrow, if anything, during the Q&A.
And some people thought I've heard this commentary too that this was Josh D'Amaro's baby, this Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser. No, not at all. That doesn't line up with the timeline at all. Sorry, guys. Josh D'Amaro was, I think, the president of the Disneyland Resort, and even before then, he was off at a lower level position in middle management before he even brought onto the onto various teams in the Parks Experiences and Products division when this thing was being formulated. So this is not a Josh D'Amaro baby. From what I understand, this was more of a Chapek thing, and this was supposed to be a concept that they were going to bring out to every single major resort around the world, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Paris, all of them, even Disneyland. And even very recently, OG, we heard from the Disneyland Forward event, not this most previous one, but Wizard, the one you attended there, the coffee, right? They likened some of the experiences that they would want to bring when it came to hotels and so forth to this. So, that just tells you.
They definitely, they said a whole bunch of stuff, and like general, but they definitely did like the specific thing. Then one of the specific things they mentioned was, Galactic Starcruiser. They even said the concept art. They said, that we just put that there because just so what could happen. And they didn't say, oh yes, Avatar or whatever, but they did say Galactic Starcruiser. That's only one thing they really mentioned by name. Damn, now okay,
that's funny. That's funny. Now, I have a hard out in like 10 minutes. Should we talk about this Incredicoaster thing? Because I think I want to get to that before I leave.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, boy. Come on, chat. Let's see what you got. Okay, so we have a tweet here. That was it? Did you say in the chat?
Actually, it was in our DMs. We were talking in DMs.
Yeah. DM, that's what I thought. And somewhere there's a big group of people. Great people. And then they're talking about the theming on coasters and how in Hagrid's started off with Hagrid's. Oh, I think someone sent a tweet about Hagrid's, and then
I remember this now.
Abby. I mean,
And then
that was a spicy tweet. She's been like spicy all week, like with her tweets. You know, it's been
maybe she got a bad day at work or something. I don't know, but she was there and she sent a tweet out Haggers, and someone else responded. Well, I hope so, because it's the most expensive coaster ever built. And then our lovely OG over here suggests that the Incredicoaster at the same level theming as the Velocicoaster, and I was flabbergasted.
Well, and here's my mindset behind it, because both of these are kind of similar. They're both great coasters, but they're both lightly themed, and that's kind of where my mind was kind of going at it. Like, where Incredicoaster is a fantastic coaster. Everyone says it's like it's a great as a coaster. It works really great. But the theming is really light, right? So you have a lot of figures. You even have like the big Jack in the queue, but it's not like a heavily immersive kind of experience. I kind of put in Velocicoaster in that same kind of category because it feels very similar, where it's like you have the dinos and the statues in the queue, but the ride itself is very light. I mean, you might see some statues along the way, but it's very light. Now, there's an argument to be made. Oh, well, Velocicoaster looks better. I would agree with you on that. I think visually, Velocicoaster looks a million times better than the Incredicoaster. But I think at the core, they're both very similar. Fun coasters, lightly themed. That's kind of where I stand.
I put it in the middle. See, I put it obviously not like Hagrid's, but not like Incredicoaster. I feel like a better comparison would be the Hulk. I feel like the Hulk is like the Incredicoaster. You know, because at least the Velocicoaster, or the back half has no theming. The front half is, there's like actual rock work and waterfalls and a whole bunch of trees, and then the back half is nothing. So that's why I put it like obviously not Hagrid. So I always put it in the middle of the two. Like Hulk kind of has theming in the station, right, in the launch tunnel. That is nothing, right? And the Incredicoaster is kind of similar, where the supports are, I guess, themed to Boardwalk, right? And then you have Jack. I feel like Hulk and Incredicoaster are more similar than Velocicoaster.
That's fair, and I would actually agree with you on that. I think that is a better comparison. What do you think, Dre?
Yeah, I think I would agree, because you have animatronic figures in the queue. I think neither Hulk or Incredicoaster features those. You have the whole screen thing where they do the Velociraptors chasing after the vehicles as they launch off in the queue. That's kind of cute, right? And there's some storytelling elements there that I think are more successfully done than maybe Incredicoaster or Hulk actually do. So I think I agree with Wizard. I think it's just one step above. The thing though is I think the big difference maker between the two experiences is that Incredicoaster nowadays is it's an older coaster. It's an older coaster, whereas
it's looking worn out.
Yeah, Velocicoaster's like, that is a, Intamin meets, the Rocky Mountain Construction type, next-gen coaster. And I think the experience is improved in substantial ways, not just from the theming or the subtle amounts of it more than Incredicoaster, but also the experience itself. So, I if we're ranking them, probably go higher in that opinion. But look, Incredicoaster's still great. It's just, man,
it needs work.
It almost seems like the Incredibles theme detracted from it for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why I always feel that way.
It makes sense because, California Scream was like a seaside, a taken on seaside boardwalk coaster. And I feel like people were like, oh, it's unthemed. And I felt like it was an appropriate theme for what it was. It's on a boardwalk. It's Paradise Pier. It's a boardwalk thing, and it's a boardwalk it's not a wooden coaster, but it was themed to look like one. I feel like it was pretty good. Good enough,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you're right. And did you just hit a typewriter, Ethan? Was that a typewriter?
That was my printer.
Oh, like, what is going on? No, you're absolutely right. But the problem with the Incredicoaster is that this was a Bob Chapek thing where he shit the bed. It was like he decided that, like, okay, we have Incredibles 2 coming out, so let's theme the coaster to Incredibles. And it made no sense. There was a million things you could have done with Pixar that would have made a lot more sense for that coaster. Even if you had to do Incredibles, you could have done it in like a strongman carnival vibe, right? Like Mr. Incredible as the strong man, you know, the thing that you hit and the thing goes up and hits the bell, the strong man. That would have been so much more like it to kind of incorporate Mr. Incredible.
That would have been actually, if there's Malibu still around, that would have been a cool way to retheme that, because you know
That's
right.
Yeah.
You know,
and they go boom, and then you shoot up, and then that'd be cool.
And they did that with Midway Mania. They took this Toy Story characters, they put them in a Midway kind of situation, so it worked. You know, they didn't really do that with the Incredibles though. There's just the Incredibles, you know, so it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I don't know. They gotta. I really wish Disney would give that, like, you know, the Imagineers some money to really revisit Pixar up here and like really try to make it work better than it does right now. Because there's parts of it that are fantastic. Lamplight Lounge, the little promenade, really cool stuff there. They just need a clean. They need to be more cohesive. They got to really plus and kind of clean things up a little bit.
Hey, OG, we have 17 billion now, so we can do it.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Thanks, Ron DeSantis. We'll be using your 17 billion.
Redirected all of those funds, every single bit of it, over to this.
You need a Ron DeSantis drop.
Like, oh, I know. Oh, I do have a Ron DeSantis drop. Hold on one sec. Hold on. I do it. I do. I got the Ron DeSantis drop. Here we go. but with that, fellas, I have to get going. But Wizard, thank you so much for having me on. I do appreciate you, brother. and Dr. Dre, as always, an absolute pleasure. Check me out on YouTube, OrangeGirl55, and on Twitter at OrangeGirl50.
Their shirts are really cool.
Buy my shirts on the YouTube channel. There's a Teespring store. You can check it out. And I will not rip you off. I will not rip you off. Yes. All right. Talk to you guys later. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
He left us, Dr. Dre. He left us. Boy.
But that's not what I'm going to do.
Oh, wow. That's like a So, speaking of Mr. Ronnie boy, J.O. man.
Ron, just sanctimonious. Okay, get it.
I believe he called him teeny today. He's like, he's teeny. He's only 5'7". That was funny.
Yeah, it's been, but, it's interesting. 45 has been going after him for this Disney thing, right?
Yeah, I know, right? God, they're so jabby. But Iger, I think Iger is done playing a little nice. He's like, he's pretty upset there. He's canceling things left and right. Yes. Lake Nona. What do you think about Lake Nona?
So a lot of people are citing, well, okay, so you'll read the headlines, right? And they'll say, amid DeSantis feud, Disney pulls out of Lake Nona project, $1 billion. Okay. The key thing there is amid, not over, right? They didn't pull out over that. To be honest, they were going to pull out anyway. It was a very unpopular move. As soon as it was announced, you had the bulk of Imagineering that had to uproot their lives or be let go by the company within about a 6-month time window, and that really caused a lot of what do you want to say? There's a lot of disgruntled Imagineers after that point, right? And some of them took it out of the company in profound ways. From what I'm hearing, part of the reason why Disney had to make that statement regarding, SB 1557 over there in Florida was because a lot of people wanted to put the pressure on Chapek to get him out, right? And so that's how the company responded in that situation, and now we're in the problems with Florida that we are in right now. But it's really important to understand that was Lake Nona was more of a cost-saving move for them in the long term, right? They were already worked out with the state many tax subsidies, many incentives to bring their business over from Glendale to Lake Nona, Florida, and so for really kind of a Chapek initiative, but there were multiple people involved. Chapek kind of felt it that they could save costs by removing business from California, putting it into Florida, taxes and so forth, regulatory issues,
breaks,
all
right?
that.
$580 million or some in tax breaks.
And they had negotiated with Florida for that amount. Also, too, This was also, I believe Braden from Mickey Views actually talked about this a little bit. I do fully agree with him. This was also a way to get in kind of cheap creatives, right?
Yeah. I guess it's kind of the thing that Universal did, right? The send out the retirement packages so you can hire lower paid Universal creators. I guess it's the same type of argument.
And honestly, Imagineering has already started to do that. They're getting people right out of design school in order to be added to the ranks of Imagineering. But when that happens, you lose a lot of institutional memory. You make a lot of the same mistakes that you may have made before, but obviously the current crew hasn't learned. There's a lot of turnover that happens there. Again, these things aren't free. Two ways. One, the investment for Lake Nona was going to be substantial. I mean, we were hearing it was going to be north of $1 billion to facilitate that move. On top of that, they had lost 90% of the workforce over at Imagineering and Flower Street. So it was so costly. It was so unpopular. It was so demoralizing to WDI and this esteemed institution. I think Iger and everybody involved just said, you know what, we're just not going to do this. And apparently that decision was made months ago. The reason why they're doing it now, well, they happen to be in a fight with DeSantis, right? So that's why you see those headlines. Hey, amid DeSantis feud, Disney pulls it. That's what they're doing right there. It's all optics. Obviously, the DeSantis thing didn't help those things, but I think that would have happened anyway, regardless of what happened between Disney and the governor.
Because, Lorena, who lives around there, go subscribe to her. Lorena Girl, she said, hasn't been any movement in months on the site, and she drives by quite often, right?
Right.
So it seems like it's not like it was active on construction and it just stopped all of a sudden. Yeah, probably made their decision months ago, and hey, it's a good ship to use in the DeSantis thing because hey, wait a second, and it sneaks out that bad news, right? To in a positive, more positive way, because hey, guess what? We're using this against DeSantis bargaining chip, and then also, you cancel all those poor people. Some people, I guess, 300 moved over there already. So I wonder if they'll help them back, or not, if they want to come back.
Did you see the article, by the way? I believe Fox 35.
Yeah, I think I sent there. It said they wanted to stay over there, didn't they?
Here, let me go ahead and share my screen right here. This was, I thought this was kind of funny.
I like it over
Disney employees who relocated to Orlando from California prefer to stay, Realtor says. According to a Central Florida Realtor, some who work for Disney are calling Orlando the, quote, happiest place on earth and would prefer to stay after a plan to develop $1 billion development in Lake Nona was scrapped. Quote, it's actually been overwhelming the amount of people who have said, now we love Orlando, and as long as they don't force us to go back, we plan on staying. Realtor Ken Pozek relocates Disney employees to Lake Nona says. It's interesting too. I mean, I think this was bungled just from the start when they said, "Hey, after the events of 2020, which we all remember, right? You survived all that. You went through all that. Now you have to uproot your entire life, your family, whatever, in a 6-month window, or else you're out of the company in order to move to Orlando." That was just a bridge too far for a lot of folks, and that's where the kind of the overwhelming sense of demoralization came in to really kind of firmly grab hold of the rank and file within Disney. That was a little bit of a slap in the face. Remember, Josh Giamaro sent out that letter. I would have dilated that out a little bit, maybe over a 10-year window, right? Because I do think it is going to be cheaper to do business in Florida because of the regulatory environment in California. If you wanted to make the move over there, you could have just said, hey, over 10 years, we're going to start this transition process. Anybody we hire on will be from Florida. Anybody we let go, it's going to be from Glendale, and that process will kind of sort itself out. And at the end of the 10 years, we'll see about relocating, as long as we, set up people in advance to do that. 6 months, as one step too far. Yeah. I think it was good from the start.
Yeah, like everyone's like, especially because it was kind of sudden, just like, what? All right. So now what? 6 months, dang, do people can people even move within the same state 6 months? That's a lot. I mean, I've been trying to move, and it's taken more than 6 months for me to look for a spot. So that's a lot.
And when you're trying to cut costs, right? The company is trying to cut $5.5 billion this year. and they're trying to cut thousands of employees, doesn't necessarily make sense to invest the little capex you have into this kind of long-term cost-saving venture that is like Nona, that is so unpopular internally. Didn't quite make sense. This one, to me, came as no surprise because, like you said, Wizard, the site hadn't been developed. We heard some officials talk about it, but there wasn't a lot focused on it by the company itself. We didn't hear it in earnings calls, didn't hear it in interviews. That told me they were trying to shy away from it slowly, and now we hear we have the culmination of that. Conveniently placed with their feud with DeSantis.
Almost like the Avengers e-ticket. What?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a whole other story. George Kalogridis did talk about the Avengers e-ticket at the recent Disneyland Forward event, so that is encouraging at least.
Yeah, at least he said it, because they didn't say anything about. Oh, actually, they did say something about Avatar that he didn't know about it.
That's true.
The announcement, like, oh, all right. Well, at least he mentioned it. Oh, and quickly before we leave,
sure.
GRL Power Coasters. Oh boy, says, I've been hearing a lot of people, I don't know who, but a lot of people not convinced over the Drift project. Can you debunk this? It's funny. This is almost like when Sony kept saying, there won't be two. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield won't show up in No Way Home, and they said it all the way to the last minute. They never leave. They still haven't released any character posters, right, of those guys. And what do you know? They showed up. So my goodness, whoever Universal's like the Sony game, the secretive game. They're very good at telling you that, convincing you that something is not going to happen. But yes, tomorrow more demo should be happening, as it already has been. If it's not happening, trust me, those walls wouldn't be up.
So I think we have orders or receipts for track to be transported to the site already. I think I saw that on Twitter somewhere. We have them blaring out.
Yeah, the track was getting painted.
Right. So then we have them blaring out test audio for the screams that would come from a coaster, right? We have these facilities being shut down. We have concept art for this project. We have permits filed. Guys, it's happening. I mean, it's Universal can deny it all they want. It's happening, guys. Relax.
Yeah, and it's right there. You got and the clearest sign yet. Again, last week when those walls went up, and there's thanks to Attractions 360 again, with they showed the little earth mover there, clearing out some trees right in the animal actor spot. So don't worry, just be patient, and you'll get to ride that coaster in just 18 to 24 months, and it's gonna be amazing. But don't freak out. Don't freak out.
Can't wait.
It's gonna be great, man. Oh, well, thank you, Dre, for popping on the late night live stream.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't say this is the Juicy Couture Hour.
Well, I do appreciate you having me, Wizard. Thank you for having the OG55 crew on. I do appreciate the invite. If any of you guys want to follow me, you can go ahead and do so right down there at Vash Sky. Just go ahead, type it in, and it should pop up for, as Christine Wastelands McCarthy would say, for all the
robust
discussion right there. And if you want to see me, you can go ahead and subscribe to the OG55 channel. We have some amazing shows on there, including, but not limited to, Orange Co 55 and Orange Nerd, where we talk about everything C-suite, even some parks related news and so forth, everything that has to do with the entertainment industry. Very, very cool. Citrus Corner, hosted by my dear friend George, who, by the way, we're going to have a video talking about some of these topics, but in much more depth and with much more detail than we can here. So you want to go ahead and subscribe, check that out. Story Geeks with Jay, where we talk about all the stories that impact our lives, including, but not limited to, The Mandalorian, Guardians of the Galaxy. We've had some great shows on that. And also my own, Freshly Squeezed.
Soon to be Indiana Jones.
Soon to be Indiana Jones, for sure. Yeah, that's an interesting thing, which we talked about on Citrus Corner, by the way, so that's interesting. Go to my own Freshly Squeezed, your source for juicy news and info, squeezed fresh, right from the Grove.
Heck yeah! And boy, I don't know who these people are, but I don't see people everywhere saying that. Who knows more about coasters? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Man, well, you'll have to come on for a coaster competition, Mr. Rash Guy.
Ooh,
Test my knowledge.
I actually don't know. I know a little bit, but you know, there are some terminologies that I kind of get screwed up on. You know, when people say, "Oh, it's a 0G roll," and it's a, you know, it's a Cobra roll and the pretzel roll, and I'm like, okay, I will take your word on it. So,
you know
between
what?
the two of us, we're pretty good.
You're going on a coaster competition. That's right. We're gonna set it up and do some pictures, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a nice coaster comp live show. 3 guys. That's not everywhere. Oh my god. Anyway, have a epic Super Mario Day, everybody. Boom, boom, boom. Oh,